Imagine if every setback secretly worked in your favor. What if life once against you but training you to expect victory? Most people panic when things go wrong, but the uncommon few, they trust the process. They walk into storms like they are already walking out the other side. Why? Because when you act as if everything works out, your focus sharpens, your fear shrinks, and your strength multiplies. How? You wake up and decide, today is already mine. In just a few moments, I will teach you how to act with certainty, lead with belief, and command powerful outcomes daily. Have you ever considered how your outcomes would change if you treated every opportunity as though it were destined for your good? What if your thoughts spoke in this language? Everything is unfolding for my benefit. Nothing is wasted. Every delay has direction. You are not a spectator in this life. You are a sculptor. And the first tool is your belief. Act accordingly. The world bends to the man who moves with certainty. You've seen it. A man walks into a room, and without saying a word, the air shifts. People listen not because he demands it, but because he believes in the weight of his purpose. He acts not with arrogance, but with certainty. And certainty is magnetic. It is not luck that opens doors. It is clarity. It is conviction. Most men tiptoe around their dreams, asking permission, but power does not wait. Power walks in. It declares its intent. It does not ask, can I? It says, watch me. Why does the world respond differently to such a man? Because the world mirrors your expectation. It is not your potential that people recognize, it is your posture. When you act as if everything always works out for you, you signal to life that you are ready to receive. You become a force, a signal tower, not broadcasting desperation, but assurance. You stop chasing outcomes and start choosing them. Now picture this, you standing at the edge of a new endeavor. It is risky. You don't have every answer, but instead of shrinking, you breathe deep and declare, this will serve me. This will prosper. And so it does. Have you ever wondered how many dreams you abandoned, not because they failed, but because you doubted too soon? What would your life look like if you treated every goal as inevitable? If you held your head not with pride, but with purpose, you must become the kind of person who does not require the world's approval to believe in your path. Act as if the outcome is already settled and the world will rush to meet you halfway. Consistency confirms your commitment. A single act of courage can spark admiration, but consistent action earns trust, especially the trust you build with yourself. Discipline is not just about rules or sacrifice. It is how you prove to your own soul that you are serious. It is the evidence that your words carry weight. Men are often moved by emotion. Inspiration strikes, and for a day or two, fire burns in the chest. But what transforms a man is not a flash, it is a rhythm, a steady, pounding rhythm, the pulse of daily devotion to something greater than comfort, greater than feeling, greater than ease. Why is this so powerful? Because consistency builds reputation, not just with the world, but with the one person who must believe in you above all others, you. Every time you rise before the sun, every time you choose the hard path, every time you follow through, especially when it is inconvenient, you are casting a vote for your identity. You are saying, I am who I said I would be. That kind of integrity is rare, and it is priceless. It is the foundation upon which unshakable self-belief is built. Think of the blacksmith. His finest sword is not formed in one mighty strike, but in thousands. Blow after blow, heat, hammer, repeat. Repetition shapes the steel. Just as repetition shapes your soul, your skill, your story. You don't need brilliance every day. You need faithfulness. Ask yourself, are your habits confirming your identity or contradicting it? Do your actions align with your ambition, or do they quietly mock it? Talk is cheap. Patterns reveal the truth. The man who acts as if everything works out for him does not stop when motivation runs dry. He does not quit when applause is absent. He continues because he knows the work is shaping the man, even when the results feel far away, even when no one notices, especially then. This is the secret. Do not seek occasional greatness. Seek daily faithfulness. Greatness is not one moment. It is built in the shadows, in the quiet repetition, in the consistency that most will never see. That is how legacies are born, not in bursts of brilliance, but in the quiet courage to keep showing up. So show up today, not because you feel like it, but because you said you would. And let that be enough. because one faithful day becomes a faithful year, and faithful years build lives that cannot be shaken. You become what you prepare, for preparation is faith in action. It is not passive hope, it is bold expectation. When you prepare, you do not merely wish for a better life, you build toward it. You say through your action, I am ready for what I have not yet received. Such readiness is not born from circumstances, but from conviction. You do not wait to be noticed. You do not wait to be chosen. You move as though your moment has already arrived. This is not delusion, it is discipline. For preparation rewires your identity. It does not just change your results. It transforms yourself. The man who lifts iron daily is no longer a beginner, he is an athlete. The woman who writes before dawn is no longer an amateur, she is an author. The line between becoming and being is crossed not in public recognition, but in private consistency. When you act as if everything works out for you, you stop waiting for the stars to align. You become the force that aligns them. You do not wait for the perfect day, you build a perfect habit. You do not wait for permission, you give it to yourself. You prepare not because doors are open, but because you believe they will open and you want to be ready when they do. Consider a man who dreams of launching a business. If he waits for investors, for approval, for certainty, his dream decays in delay. But if he begins now learning, solving, designing, he is no longer a dreamer. He is a builder. Or imagine a young woman with the vision of becoming a teacher. Though she has no students, she studies. She teaches in small places. She practices her voice. The world may not yet see her as a teacher, but she already is. What habits today mirror the person you say you were becoming? Would a great leader sleep in and drift through the day? Or would he rise with purpose, aware that his every step echoes into the future? Would a wise mentor gossip and complain, or study and serve? Preparation is not just an action, it is a mirror. It reflects who you believe yourself to be. Ask yourself daily, are you preparing for your future or postponing it? Are your rituals aligned with your vision or your fears? A man rehearsing greatness will not spend his morning in laziness. A woman preparing for excellence will not waste her evening in distraction. You are always rehearsing something. Make sure it is what you want to become, because you will become it. The future belongs not to those who wait, but to those who prepare. The seed planted in obscurity will bloom in its season, but only if it was planted, only if it was watered, only if it was tended with faith. Do not wait for life to choose you, choose yourself. Practice for the crowd that has come. Write for the readers who don't yet exist. Prepare not because success is certain, but because you are certain enough to act. That is faith. That is power. You become the future you are rehearsing today. So rehearse with excellence. Rehearse with courage. Rehearse with expectation. Prepare, and the future will not catch you off guard. It will find you ready. Resilience is built before the storm arrives. When the winds rise and the storms come, the unprepared fall to their knees. But the man who has trained himself to expect triumph even in trial, he does not bend. He does not beg for calm. He becomes it. He is not at the mercy of the world. Whether he is its match. Most people are tossed about by the conditions around them. Their joy is dictated by ease. Their identity sways with each challenge. But those who are built for greatness do not move with the mood of the moment. They anchor themselves to deeper truths. They are not made in moments of ease, but in the fire of adversity. Understand this. Greatness is never measured in still waters. It is revealed in the storm. The strongest trees do not grow in sheltered gardens. They stretch their roots deep in the soil, where the wind rages loudest, where the earth shakes and dares them to fall. But they do not. They endure, and so must you. You must live with the mindset that the setback is part of the setup, that every fall is a forging, that adversity is not your enemy, it is your assignment. Life does not come to break you. It comes to build you. You have seen examples of this strength. A man loses his job, yet he still walks with his head high. Why? Because his dignity is not tied to his position. A woman is diagnosed with illness, yet she comforts others in her pain. Why? Because she decided long ago she would not be a victim of circumstance. She would be a vessel of victory. What if you looked at your struggles and whispered, "Even this will serve me"? What if you turned each rejection into redirection? What if every closed door simply became proof that something better is being built behind it? You were not born to crumble. You were not born to retreat. You were born to rise. That is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is recognizing that within you lives a spirit stronger than the storm. Resilience is not something you earn when life is generous. It is something you develop when life is not. It is forged when plans fall apart. when people leave, when nights are long and answers are silent. It is in those moments you discover you are not weak, you are becoming. Imagine what would happen if you treated every loss as a lesson, every disappointment as a doorway. How different would your life be if you walked into adversity not with fear, but with faith? Faith that this is making you stronger. Faith that this too has purpose. Will you let your pain write your story? Or will you pick up the pen and write something greater with it? You must not run from hardship. You must walk through it with the quiet confidence of a soul being refined, not ruined. Let others seek comfort. Let them chase calm seas. You, however, must seek character. You must choose to grow where others would give up. The winds will blow, the rains will fall, but if you are rooted, if you are resolved, you will not be moved. Resilience is not found in the easy path. It is born in pressure. It is carried in pain, and it shines brightest not when the sun returns, but when the clouds remain. So walk forward through trial, through trouble, through tears if needed. But walk, because resilience is not a trophy for the lucky. It is the trademark of the strong. And it already lives within you. You set the price of your life by the standard you accept. A man cannot rise above the expectations he refuses to challenge. You cannot fly while clinging to ceilings built by fear or limits handed down by those who never dared to climb. If you accept scraps, the world will offer nothing but crumbs. But if you demand excellence starting with your own reflection, the world must adjust its offer. Too many live waiting for the promotion, for recognition, for someone to discover their worth and shine a light on their hidden potential. But that wait is a trap, because life does not reward the passive, it rewards the persistent. It is not enough to hope to be seen. You must stand in such a way that you cannot be ignored. Do not wait to be told your value. Declare it, not with empty words, but with consistent action. With early mornings, with focused work, with habits that speak louder than your resume ever could. Every time you show up with discipline, you raise your value. Every time you say no to mediocrity, you sharpen your edge. When you act as if everything works out for you, it is not arrogance, it is alignment with purpose. You stop apologizing for your ambition. You stop explaining your dreams to those who cannot see beyond the now. You walk tall, you speak clearly, and you move forward with the calm confidence of one who has already counted the cost and is willing to pay it. Consider this. What if your current results are not proof of your limit, but proof of your standard? What if your life is not stuck, but simply plateaued at the level of your expectations? Raise those expectations and watch everything rise with them. Your income, your relationships, your inner peace, because the world reflects what you project. Excellence is not about impressing others. It is about honoring the gift of potential. When you raise the bar on your habits, when you tighten your focus, sharpen your schedule, and refine your discipline, you begin to attract a different reality. Opportunities no longer pass you by. People no longer overlook you because your standard commands attention. And let us be honest, are you living beneath your potential because you fear being seen? Is your light dim because you worry how others will respond to its shine? If so, remember this: you were not born to blend in, you were born to build, to shape, to lead. And leaders do not shrink, they rise. The market, whether of money, respect, or opportunity, pays what you demand, but it listens first to what you demand of yourself. So demand more focus, more consistency, more resilience. Do not ask the world to value you more if you do not first show that you value yourself. This is not about pride. It is about principle. The principle that you are the thermostat of your destiny, not the thermometer of your conditions. You set the tone. You raise the heat, and the world must rise to meet it or be left behind. So raise your standard. Speak less, execute more, dream bigger, prepare harder, and never, ever settle for the level you've outgrown, because the ceiling you challenge today becomes the floor you stand on tomorrow. Do not just wish for more. Become more. The world is watching, and it always pays those who dare to raise the price. Gratitude is the language of expectation. When you are thankful for what has not yet arrived, you send a powerful message to life itself. I trust it, already on the way. Gratitude, in its highest form, is not just a reaction to goodness, it is a prophecy. It is a declaration made in advance. It is a man shaking hands with destiny before the appointment has begun. It is faith in action wrapped in thankfulness. Anyone can be grateful when the harvest is in, when the table is full, when all prayers seem answered. But what of the man who is still waiting, still working, still walking through uncertainty? That man, if he can say thank you, Before the evidence appears, he possesses the kind of strength that moves mountains, because his gratitude is not based on current comfort, but future certainty. Gratitude changes you. It shifts the atmosphere of your mind. Instead of fixating on what is absent, you begin to notice what is present. You move your gaze from scarcity to sufficiency, from worry to worship. And as your vision changes, so does your posture. You begin to walk taller, speak softer, wait with patience, and work with power. Imagine if tomorrow you rose with gratitude for the strength you would need, the wisdom you hadn't yet received, and the breakthrough still waiting to unfold. What kind of man would you be? What kind of courage would carry you? You would not wake in fear, you would rise in faith. Gratitude is not passive. It is the voice of a man who is aligned with his calling. It does not whisper doubts. It declares promises. It is a bold acknowledgement that what you seek is already seeking you. And in that alignment, doors open, paths clear, and provision begins to flow. Not because life has suddenly become easier, but because your spirit has become stronger. Consider this. When you thank the heavens in advance, your actions begin to follow suit. You prepare differently. You expect differently. You treat each hour as if it carries the seeds of something sacred, because it does. The future is shaped in moments like this, in morning prayers, in unseen sacrifices, in words of thanks uttered in the silence. To live in this way is to become magnetic to blessings. You are no longer chasing favor, it is drawn to you, because gratitude creates gravity. And gravity draws the right things, the right people, the right moments into your orbit. But it requires a choice. You can walk through your day like one owed nothing, hunched by disappointment and doubt. Or you can walk like a man already blessed, head high, eyes forward, hands open. One posture invites anxiety. The other invites miracles. Speak your thanks now, not for what has been delivered, but for what is being prepared. Thank the heavens for wisdom you have not yet learned, for victories you have not yet claimed, and for strength you have not yet needed. This is not fantasy. This is faith. The universe responds to the man who moves with certainty, and certainty is born from gratitude. So live today, not in reaction, but in revelation. See your life not as lacking, but as loading, and thank life for what is coming, with the quiet authority of a man who knows what he seeks is already his, and it is only a matter of time until it arrives. Energy flows where attention commands. What you focus on expands. It is not merely a mental trick, it is a fundamental law of life. Wherever your attention rests, energy flows. If your eyes are fixed on problems, those problems grow, taking root in your thoughts and casting shadows over your choices. But if your vision is anchored in possibility, if you choose to look toward what could be instead of what has gone wrong, new doors begin to appear where before there were only walls. You must understand this clearly. Attention is power, and power always multiplies what it touches. A man focused on defeat becomes a prisoner of his fears, but a man focused on opportunity becomes an architect of solution. The same moment, the same challenge, the same life, entirely different outcomes based solely on where you choose to place your gaze. This is why those who act as if everything always works out for them often find that it does. Not because they possess some secret privilege, but because they have trained their eyes to search for light even in tunnels. They look not for the reason to stop, but the reason to start. They expect something good to come of every trial, and expectation creates momentum. Why does this matter? Because your mind is a loyal servant. It does not question the orders you give, it fulfills them. Feed it fear, and it will find you more things to fear. Feed it scarcity, and it will convince you to cling to what little you have. But feed it vision true, compelling, courageous vision, and it will conspire with boldness and grit to help you move. Picture yourself in a forest at night. Two trails lie before you. One is rocky and filled with thorns, clearly difficult. The other is veiled in mist, uncertain, untested, but glimmering with the promise of something more. Most people freeze. They wait for clarity before they move. But you must be different. You must believe that the path will become visible as you walk, that the right steps will appear not before, but because you move. What have you been staring at lately? What fears have you fed until they became giants? What dreams have you dismissed? Not because they were impossible, but because they weren't yet clear. Every focus is a seed, and over time, what you feed, you grow. If you fix your thoughts on setbacks, you become defined by them, but if you fix your thoughts on strength, even your weakness becomes training. Your vision becomes your compass, and your belief becomes the bridge between where you are and where you are meant to go. Focus is not denial. It is direction. It does not ignore reality, it simply chooses which part of reality to magnify. Will you spend your strength reinforcing your fears or rehearsing your future? Shift your focus, and you shift your fate. Begin to see problems as invitations. Begin to see obstacles as opportunities to demonstrate your strength. Let your thoughts dwell not on what has ended, but on what is beginning. You have more power than you realize. Not in changing every circumstance, but in changing the way you see it. And when your eyes are locked on growth, on possibility, on vision, everything else begins to follow. The path you seek is not revealed to the hesitant. It is given to the bold. So fix your eyes on where you're going, not what you're fearing, and walk. The trail will meet you. Silence builds the architecture of clarity. There is a moment before the world awakens, a sliver of silence before the noise, the voices, the demands, a sacred hush before duty reaches out its hands. In that space, your mind stands uncluttered, and it is here, in this stillness, that truth waits patiently to be heard. It is here that the man who acts as if everything works out for him begins his day not by reacting, but by receiving. He does not begin with emails or complaints. He does not wake up to the weight of yesterday. Instead, he checks in with his purpose. He aligns with his identity. His first appointment is not with the world, but with himself. Why is this so powerful? Because clarity is rare. And where there is no clarity, confusion reigns. But clarity is the soil from which conviction grows. And conviction, not circumstance, is what decides your direction. You can give a man tools, but without clarity, he builds someone else as dream. A man with no time to think is a man with no time to lead. Now imagine you gave yourself just 20 minutes each morning, not to rush, not to scroll, not to fill the silence, but to sit in it, to breathe, to listen, to write, to ask, what matters most today? What would make today meaningful? How will I show up not just as a worker, but as a warrior of purpose? You begin to see that clarity is not a luxury. It is a strategy. It is not about peace for peace's sake, but peace as a platform. Because from silence, decisions are born. From stillness, strength rises. The man who commands his thoughts before they command him becomes a builder of days, not a victim of them. In that quiet space, you do more than plan, you prepare. You do more than review. You rehearse the man you are becoming. Each morning becomes a rehearsal for the life you intend to live. You are no longer guessing. You are guiding. You are not waking to the world as script. You are writing your own. Consider the advantage this gives you. When others wake to chaos, you rise in calm. While they run toward noise, you walk with knowing. You are no longer chasing alignment. You are anchored in it. The man who is still while others are scattered always makes the sharper decision. He sees with a longer lens. He speaks with a measured voice. He leads with a centered heart. This is why you must protect your mornings, not for productivity alone, but for power, for preparation, for clarity. The most dangerous man is not the one who moves fast, but the one who moves deliberately. And deliberate movement comes from deliberate mornings. Do not fear silence. Enter it. Practice it. Invite it like an old friend. Because it is in silence that your next step becomes clear. It is where greatness is whispered before it is shouted. It is where intention is set before results arrive. Let the world chase noise. You chase necessity. Let them drown in distraction. You rise in design. And when you begin your day in clarity, you don't just live differently, you lead differently. You don't just work harder, you work wiser. You are no longer reacting to life. You are writing it, one still morning at a time. The identity you wear decides the life you build. You do not become successful by accident. No mountain was ever climbed by drifting upward. No legacy was built by luck. You become successful through alignment, through conscious, consistent, deliberate alignment between who you are and where you are going. Every day, in small and invisible ways, you are casting a vote for your future or against it, not through chance, but through identity. A man who believes he is chosen for greatness does not move like the world owes him, something he moves like he owes the world his best. He rises early, not because it is required, but because his vision demands it. He speaks with purpose, not for applause, but because his words shape his world. He holds himself to a higher standard, not because others expect it, but because he expects it of himself. This is the power of identity, because here is the truth. You cannot consistently outperform your self-image. If you believe you are average, your results will reflect that belief, no matter how hard you try to pretend otherwise. But if you believe you are built for more, if you carry the internal knowing that you are designed to lead, to grow, to conquer, then your actions will follow suit. Most people wait. They wait for evidence. They wait for the world to crown them. But those anchored in identity do not wait. They walk. Because they understand that a man is not shaped by his circumstances, he is revealed by them. Now picture yourself in front of the mirror. Ask not what you must do today, but who you must be. Would a man of wealth complain about temporary lack? Would a man of wisdom spend time in gossip? Would a man of honor delay the task he knows must be done? When you operate from identity, discipline becomes natural, focus becomes instinct. You no longer need to convince yourself to act. It becomes the expression of who you already believe yourself to be. This is the shift from pressure to power, from force to flow. Have you defined who you are? Or are you letting the past, the pain, or the opinions of others shape it for you? Too many wear labels handed down by failure or fear. But your identity must not be inherited. It must be designed, because your identity is your compass. It points to your future long before your feet arrive there. When the winds of distraction come, when the storms of doubt try to knock you off course, it is your identity that holds you steady, not your feelings, not your emotions, but the unshakable belief, this is who I am. So choose it, shape it, guard it, and then live in alignment with it. Walk like the person you claim to be. Speak like the man you say you are becoming. Lead with the weight of your calling already resting on your shoulders. The world responds not to desperation, but to identity. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. And what you are is not determined by chance, it is determined by choice. So make yours. Every morning, every hour, every moment you feel tempted to fall back into an old pattern, remind yourself, that is no longer who I am. I am not here by accident. I am not here to fit in. I am here to become. Your life follows your identity. So lead from the front and make sure the man in the mirror knows who's really in charge. Faith is proven by action, not emotion. The man who says he believes but never moves is not a believer. He is a dreamer. And while dreams are beautiful, they do not build empires. Belief, when it is true, puts on boots. It walks. It speaks. It decides. It dares. Faith that does not act is not faith at all. It is fantasy. To act as if everything always works out for you is not to ignore hardship. It is not to pretend that life is perfect or problems do not exist. No, it is to move forward anyway. To look uncertainty in the eye and say, you will not stop me. It is to walk when others wait, to act when others analyze, to stand when others shrink. Why is this so essential? Because the space between vision and victory is not crossed by good intentions. It is crossed by movement. The bridge between your desires and your destiny is not built with dreams, but with action. Bricks of discipline, mortar of persistence, steps taken in faith. Even when sight is limited, hope on its own cannot carry you. It may spark the fire, but it will not feed it. Action is what keeps the flame alive. It is action, steady and consistent, that turns invisible prayers into tangible progress. You must do, not just desire. Think of the farmer. He does not wait for clouds to appear before he prepares the soil. He does not sit on his porch waiting for a sign. He tills the ground. He plants the seed. He sharpens the tools and clears the field. He acts not because the rain has come, but because he believes it will. That is faith in motion. That is belief with muscle. Now ask yourself, have you been waiting for perfect clarity before you step forward? Have you been telling yourself you need a sign, a signal, a guarantee? If so, you may be mistaking hesitation for wisdom. True wisdom says, take the step that creates certainty. Move and direction will follow. Faith is not a mood. It is not something you feel only when the conditions are right. Faith is a decision, a quiet, steady resolve, a commitment renewed each morning with every choice you make, with each workout you complete, with every page you write or door you knock. You don't need to feel ready to begin. You don't need to know the outcome to take the first step. You only need to trust that forward is better than still. That becoming is better than waiting. That risk is better than regret. Because the truth is, your life is already speaking what you believe. Your habits are a sermon. Your actions are declarations. They say whether you truly trust your vision or only talk about it. So stand, walk, decide. Let your calendar reflect your confidence. Let your preparation match your prayers. Let your steps prove that you trust the road will rise to meet you. You are not built to sit still. You are not designed to live in theory. You were made to move toward what matters, toward what is next, toward the life that has been waiting for your yes. Faith is not loud. It is not flashy. It is often quiet, often unseen, but it is always moving. Let your life prove what you believe, and let your next step be your loudest amen. Speak only what you seek. Your words are not harmless. They are seeds. Every sentence you speak carries within it the potential to plant something, either possibility or poison. Like a farmer scattering grain across the soil, each word you release into the world takes root somewhere in your mind, in your actions, in the beliefs of those who hear you. And those seeds, given time and repetition, will grow. The man who believes all things work for his good does not waste breath narrating his fears. He does not rehearse failure. He does not amplify doubt. He speaks only of his aim and the principles that will get him there. His language is not careless, it is intentional. He knows that the tongue directs the direction. Language is not merely communication, it is a declaration of belief. And belief commands results. When you speak of your limits, you lend them power. You give them a voice, a home, and a future. But when you speak of your strength, your vision, your purpose, you awaken those forces within. You draw them from the background into the forefront of your life. Remember, you are the first to hear your voice. You are the primary audience of your own language. And your mind, that obedient servant, listens carefully to every phrase your mouth repeats. Speak often enough of how hard life is, and your mind will ensure you remain in hardship. Speak often of possibility, and your mind will begin seeking solutions. Most men do not fail from lack of talent or opportunity. They fail from an abundance of negative self-talk. They have memorized every reason why they cannot succeed, every past mistake, every imagined future disaster. They speak failure so fluently, success becomes a foreign language they no longer recognize. But imagine this. For 1 week, you allow yourself to speak only of the outcome you desire. No complaints, no apologies for your ambition, no dwelling on obstacles, just vision, just values, just victory. What might shift not only in your mindset, but in your actions, your words are the blueprint of your belief. The sentences you repeat become the script of your life. So ask yourself, what story are you telling? Is your language constructing the man you are becoming, or is it burying him under layers of excuse? Speak as if your words build your world, because they do. Speak not of what is, but of what shall be. Describe the future as though it were already unfolding. Declare strength, even if you feel weak. Proclaim peace, even in pressure. Name your direction aloud, because in doing so, you align yourself with forward motion. Choose your vocabulary as a sculptor chooses his tools, not with haste, but with vision. A careless strike can shatter the masterpiece. A deliberate one shapes it. Let every word that leaves your mouth be a tool, not a trap, a builder of confidence, not a destroyer of hope. Speak with the calm conviction of a man who expects life to cooperate, not because it always will, but because you always will. Your persistence, your language, your alignment will bring results where others find resistance. This is not delusion, it is design. This is not pretending, it is preparing. You are setting the tone. You are leading your life from the inside out. So the next time you speak, pause. Ask yourself, am I planting poison or possibility? And then choose to speak as the man you were born to become. Because words, when spoken with purpose, do more than echo, they create. Procrastination is the thief of your inheritance. Every moment you delay, something precious is stolen. Time is not loud. As it leaves, it does not slam the door or sound alarms. It slips away silently, unnoticed, like a thief in the night. And with it, it takes the opportunities you once swore you'd pursue, the ones you promised yourself you'd start soon. To act as if everything always works out for you does not mean you wait for fate to hand you perfection. It means you do not hesitate when the hour presents itself, because perfection is a myth. Momentum, on the other hand, is real, and it rewards those who begin. Why is procrastination so deadly? Because it wears the mask of logic. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It says, wait a little longer, prepare more. Think it through again. It sounds wise. It feels smart. But beneath its smooth disguise is fear of failure, of judgment, of responsibility. It convinces you that delay is safety, but delay is the most dangerous place of all. You've heard it countless times. One day I'll begin. One day I'll start the business. One day I'll write the book. One day I'll get serious. But one day is not a real place. It is not marked on any calendar. It is a graveyard where dreams go to die, a quiet tomb where potential is buried with full hearts and empty hands. Imagine a craftsman. He has vision, tools, and talent, but he tells himself the light isn't right, the timing isn't perfect, so he waits. Days become years. Years become silence. His workshop stays clean, his tools stay unused, and the world never sees what he could have built because he confused preparation with postponement. Have you done the same? Have you convinced yourself that your delay is wisdom, when in truth it is hesitation dressed up as caution? Have you buried your boldness beneath the blanket of more time? There is a hard truth you must accept. You do not own the future. You are not guaranteed next year, next month, or even tomorrow. What you do own is the hour in front of you, this hour. And if you use it well, if you seize it like the treasure it is, then the future will begin to bend in your direction. Urgency is not panic, it is purpose. It is understanding that life is not waiting for you to be ready. It is moving, and you must move with it. Every time you take a small step, you weaken the voice of fear. You rewrite your identity. You stop being a man who waits and start becoming a man who builds. Acting as if everything works out for you means trusting that progress will attract provision. That motion will invite clarity, that you do not need all the answers to take the next right step. It means believing that the reward is given not to those who pause endlessly, but to those who dare repeatedly. So do not wait for the conditions to be perfect. Do not ask the clock for permission. Begin. Begin messy, begin uncertain, begin with trembling hands if you must, but begin. Because starting is not the opposite of strategy, it is the foundation of it. You are not powerless. You are not lost. You are simply one decision away from movement, and movement is all momentum ever asked for. So stand up, pick up the tool, open the notebook, make the call. Whatever it is, do it now. Let this be the day that the grave of one day is replaced by the garden of this day, because today is all you own, and if you use it well, tomorrow will serve you. Environment is agreement in disguise. The people you walk with are not neutral. They are compasses. With every conversation, every interaction, they are pointing you somewhere either toward your greatness or away from it. Your environment is not a backdrop. It is a vote for the kind of man you believe you are. A man who expects success does not surround himself with doubt. He chooses company that speaks life. People who talk about vision, not gossip. People who encourage forward motion, not stagnation. He aligns with those who remind him of who he is becoming, not who he used to be. Why does this matter so deeply? Because your surroundings are suggestions. They whisper to your mind what is normal, and what your mind believes to be normal, it begins to replicate. If your circle settles for mediocrity, you will begin to see excellence as extreme. If your space is filled with distraction, your focus will become a stranger. Think of a seed. Plant it in rich soil, water it daily, let it soak in sunlight, and it will grow. Even slowly, it will move upward. But plant that same seed in dry, crowded dirt, neglected and shaded, and it suffocates. The seed hasn't changed. The potential remains, but the environment has determined the outcome. Now ask yourself, who is watering your potential? Who challenges you to rise higher? Who drains your energy, sows doubt, or distracts you from your path? Are your daily spaces built for excellence, or are they breeding grounds for comfort and complacency? Every man must inspect his environment like a builder inspects his foundation. Is it strong? Is it stable? Can it carry the weight of your vision? Because no matter how ambitious your dream is, it cannot thrive in soil that does not support it. The right company does not flatter, they sharpen. They don't let you shrink. They call you out when you drift. They ask hard questions. They see your future and refuse to let you settle for less. That kind of influence is not always easy, but it is essential. So choose your surroundings as carefully as you choose your words. Curate your space. Guard your circle, because these things are not passive, they are powerful. They will either sustain your belief, nurture your growth, and fuel your ambition, or they will slowly starve it until your goals feel too heavy to lift. Be relentless about this, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. The man you are becoming cannot afford to be planted in shallow soil. Walk with the wise, build with the focused, stand with the brave, and you will become like them. Your environment is speaking. Make sure it speaks your future. Vision without labor is a lie. It is easy to imagine a better life, to sit in stillness and picture success, peace, and fulfillment. But imagination alone will never make it real. Dreams, when not paired with action, become sweet poison. They make you feel full for a moment, yet leave you starving. A man can starve for years on nothing but vision. The man who truly believes that all things work out for him does not merely daydream. He puts his hands to the task. His belief is not just something he recites, it is something he proves. His vision is not a wish, it is an assignment. He sees the end with clarity, then humbly begins the beginning. Why is this critical? Because labor is love in motion, talk is noise, Action is commitment. Every swing of the hammer, every sentence on the page, every hour spent refining the craft, this is belief translated into movement. It is one thing to say you believe. It is another thing to build like it. Imagine meeting a man who said he would one day cross the ocean, but every time you see him, he is standing on the shore, no boat built, no oars carved, no sails stitched, just more words. You would not call him a visionary. You would call him stuck. And yet, how many say they want greatness, yet their hands remain idle? What about you? What is one task, one small act that would bring your vision into motion today? Not the whole plan, just one brick laid, 1 hour focused. Have you delayed because the dream feels too big or because your discipline has fallen too small? Vision must bleed into action. You must take the picture in your mind and begin building its frame in the real world, not someday, not when it is easy, but today, especially today, because every castle you see in your mind is buildable, but only if you're willing to sweat for it. There is dignity in the doing. There is strength in the start. Each task completed is a vote for the man you are becoming. So stop feeding your future with empty intention. Feed it with action. Your dream is not a fantasy. It is a blueprint. But blueprints do not build. Builders do. And you, if you are willing, can build what others only imagine. Start now. 1 brick, 1 step, 1 move forward. Turn your belief into labor and your labor into legacy. Fear is a signal, not a stop sign. Fear is not your enemy. It is your compass. It signals the edge of your comfort, the boundary between who you are and who you could become. It does not arise to stop you. It rises to show you where the stretch begins. And beyond that stretch lies your expansion. The man who acts as if everything always works out for him is not fearless. He simply does not wait for fear to vanish before he moves. He walks with it. He acts through it because he understands fear is not a command. It is a clue, a whisper pointing to the place where growth hides. Why is this mindset a turning point? Because most men misread fear. They see it as a barrier instead of a beacon. They interpret its presence as a reason to turn back, when in truth it often marks the very door they were born to walk through. The life they want waits on the other side, but they stop at the threshold. Picture a soldier standing before a great gate. Behind it lies his freedom, his future, his destiny. His heart pounds, his legs shake, the unknown looms. But he lifts the latch, not because he feels brave, but because he chooses to be. That is courage, not the absence of fear, but the decision to move in spite of it. Fear can only do one thing well. It reveals. It reveals what matters. It reveals where you are most called to grow. The greater the fear, the greater the potential reward. But only if you refuse to let it dictate your direction. Ask yourself, what have you not begun because of fear? What project, what conversation, what leap have you left untouched because fear stood beside it? What has fear talked you out of that was meant to elevate you? And what if just beyond that fear waits your breakthrough, your new chapter, your next level? Do not make comfort your compass. It will lead you in circles. It will keep you safe but small. Make conviction your guide. Let your values, your purpose, your vision lead the way. Fear may visit, but it does not have to stay, and it certainly never has to drive. Courage is a choice. One you renew every time you hear fear as voice and still take the next step. Over time, that choice becomes a habit, and that habit becomes identity. You stop seeing yourself as a man who avoids risk and start becoming the man who walks through fire to find gold. Fear is loud, yes, but it is not lasting. It shouts at the beginning, then falls silent when you act. Action silences fear faster than logic ever could. So let fear point the way, but never hold the key. Let it inform, but never decide. Because when fear becomes your compass, it always leads you to the edge. And the edge is where transformation lives. Your standard is louder than your words. You can tell the world what you value. You can speak of excellence, of honor, of ambition. But the world does not believe what you say. It believes what you tolerate. Your actions speak with a volume your words cannot match. And your standards are the clearest voice you possess. The man who expects the best outcome does not settle for less. He does not make peace with mediocrity. He walks with dignity, disciplines himself in the dark, and moves with direction even when the path feels uphill. He does not demand respect. He commands it by the way he lives. His standard becomes his signal. People know where he stands without needing a speech. They feel the weight of his expectation by watching how he moves. Why is this so vital? Because your life does not rise to your dreams. It rises or falls to the level of your minimums. The baseline you accept is the ceiling you will never rise above. What you allow, you endorse. What you overlook, you invite. Over time, these allowances shape your reputation, your results, and eventually your reality. Consider the craftsman. He builds not by accident, but with intention. He rejects every flawed board. He measures twice. He polishes each edge with care. He does hope for excellence, he ensures it. His standard is not a motivational slogan. It is a method. It is the legacy he leaves behind in wood and finish. That kind of craftsmanship is rare, and it is remembered. Ask yourself, have you lowered your standard to match your mood? Have you let your emotions govern your excellence? Or are you holding the line even when no one applauds, no one watches, and no one cares? Excellence is not occasional. It is not a performance. It is a habit, a mindset, a line drawn in stone. To raise your life, you must first raise your minimums. In speech, do you honor truth or indulge in gossip? In thought, do you rehearse power or recycle doubt? In time, do you spend it with focus or squander it with distraction? Do not speak of greatness and then marry mediocrity. You cannot live like everyone else and expect to lead them. You cannot flirt with low standards and then wonder why your life feels heavy. Your standard is your foundation, and if that foundation is cracked, nothing you build will last. You teach others how to treat you, not through arguments or explanations, but through example, through what you accept, through the energy you allow, the boundaries you keep, and the effort you offer. Let your life be so sharp, so focused, so refined that compromise feels foreign, that those who meet you understand immediately this is a man who lives by code, who does not waver in chaos, who does not bend for convenience. This is not about pride, it is about principle. The principle that what you build begins with what you believe, and what you believe is made visible through what you tolerate. So inspect your life, review your patterns, raise your standard, and refuse to apologize for it, because the world is watching, and more importantly, you are watching. Make sure what you see in the mirror is not just a man who dreams, but a man who demands enough of himself to reach those dreams. Let your standard speak, and let it be undeniable. Your future is listening. Every choice you make today sends a message forward. It is not isolated. It is not meaningless. It speaks into the days ahead. Each decision is a signal, a command, a blueprint. It tells your future what to prepare, what to deliver, what to expect. The man who walks with the belief that all things work for his good does not take this lightly. He understands that his decisions today are conversations with his destiny. He does not toss his hours aside. He uses them as letters to a future version of himself, a version he respects, a version he is building. Why is this so empowering? Because it removes excuse. It silences the myth that fate holds the pen. No, you hold it. Every action, every habit, every pattern is ink on the page of your future. This means you are not waiting for destiny. You are writing it. This truth leaves no room for blame. It removes the illusion of helplessness. You are not a passenger in life as vehicle. You are the one behind the wheel, and the road you are driving is paved with the bricks of today as behaviors. Imagine 10 years from now, the man you will become steps into your room. He has your name, your face, but more wisdom, more clarity, more consequence. What will he say when he looks at you? Will he thank you for your discipline? Will he honor your sacrifices? Or will he ask with sadness, why did you stop when it mattered most? Each day, that meeting draws closer, and every hour you live now shapes how that man will stand. Will he stand tall with peace and pride, or will he carry the weight of wasted time? You are not drifting, you are directing. Whether consciously or not, your life is moving. Each hour used wisely is a seed planted in the soil of tomorrow. Each compromise is a weed that threatens its roots. Speak well to your future, through action, through order, through intention. Let the man you will become inherit a field rich with preparation, not overrun by regret. Let him find doors you be built, not walls you've ignored. This does not mean you must be perfect. It means you must be purposeful. It means choosing what aligns over what appeases. It means trading the comfort of now for the calling of later. Your habits are not just routines. They are declarations. They say, this is who I am becoming. Your calendar is not just a schedule. It is a contract. It proves what you prioritize. So choose well, eat with discipline, speak with intention, work with focus, rest with purpose, live as if the man you are becoming is watching, because he is, and he hoping you won. To forget that greatness is not found in one massive moment, but in millions of quiet choices. Your future self is listening. What are you saying with your actions today? Let every answer be worthy of his gratitude. Build well, live sharp. Speak to tomorrow with the language of excellence, because one day you will meet. Make sure it is a joyful reunion. The man who decides wins indecision is the silent killer of greatness. It rarely screams. It does not announce itself with sirens or signs. It whispers softly, persistently. Wait until you're certain. Wait until you're sure. But the truth is, certainty is not the beginning of success. It is the result, the reward, the harvest of courageous action taken before all the answers were clear. The man who acts as if everything always works out for him does not sit in the waiting room of indecision. He moves, he chooses, he decides with clarity, not because he knows everything, but because he understands one essential truth. Action refines thought, not the other way around. Why is decision so powerful? Because it slices through the fog of fear. It shifts the weight of possibility into the reality of momentum. A clear decision is the first brick laid on the path from idea to experience. It is the spark that turns vision into movement. Picture a captain lost at sea. The skies are gray, the map unclear, the wind's inconsistent, but still he must chart a course. He cannot wait for the waves to calm or the stars to align perfectly. He must move. Even if the direction needs correction later, movement is life, indecision is drift, and drift over time becomes death. Now ask yourself honestly, what are you delaying right now? What decision have you left unfinished, unspoken, untouched? What corner of your life remains stagnant because you've been waiting for a perfect signal? You do not need a guarantee to move. You need a direction, a decision. And once made, something begins to shift. The moment you decide, the universe responds. The fog begins to clear. Doors start to open. People appear. Resources gather. Not because the world was waiting, but because you were. And the moment you stepped, the world stepped with you. Confidence, too, is not born from contemplation. It is forged in motion. Each step forward, each risk taken builds a deeper trust in your ability to handle whatever comes. Clarity does not precede commitment. It follows it. So do not wait for a sign. Be the sign. Be the man who chooses boldly, who understands that course correction is easier than escaping from stagnation. Be the man who moves even through doubt. Decision is not just an act. It is a declaration. It says, I trust my strength more than my fear. It says, I value progress more than perfection. Let your decisions shape your days like a river carves through canyon, rock steady, strong, unstoppable. Let them create rhythm in your life, discipline in your hours, purpose in your steps. Decide. And do not look back. Not because every decision will be flawless, but because every decision will bring you closer to who you are meant to become. Life rewards movement. So move. Life respects clarity. So decide. Your future is not waiting on more information. It is waiting on you. Believe that life bends in your favor. Begin now. Speak like the outcome is certain. Move like success is promised. The world mirrors your inner expectation. So act as if everything always works out for you, because when you do, it begins to. Trust the process. Start creating your proof today.